Hi, and thank you for joining me. Welcome back to the channel. So today, this has really been a theme of late, but this is, honestly, this is possibly the one I was looking forward to most, even more than the Yes. It's another one of these Atlantic 75 Analogue Productions, mind-blowingly good records. And this one is, well, here we go. As you can see, INXS kick. Kind of slightly different to the sort of thing I normally talk about, but when Kick came out 1987, I would have been in my early 20s, and I just absolutely loved it. This to me is kind of, there are a few other albums, but this is where that kind of 1980s sound, the 1980s production, the 1980s kind of aesthetic, if you like, this is it firing on all cylinders and pulling out all the stops and pressing all the buttons and doing everything right. I love it. This is just a monumental, essential, phenomenal album. Now, I bought this back in the day when it came out, and here's my UK original. I love this on the back, also available on chrome cassette and compact disc. So CD was out at this point in time, but let me just show you my original one. So what you got the first time around, this is the inner sleeve with lyrics. I think, some of the things that are special about this band. For those of you that don't know, there's three brothers, Farris brothers, on guitars, drums, and keyboards, and then Michael Hutchence on vocals, who sadly died all far too young, but like so many great stars, those ones that don't last so long burn more brightly, and Michael Hutchence was definitely one of those. Gary Beers on bass, and Kurt Ben-Gilly on guitars, saxophone, and backing vocals. It's an astonishing album, and it's just they were so utterly cool. Utterly cool. And then this is my original, which of course you've got 6 tracks per side. Interestingly enough, and I'm not sure how this varied around the world, but the logo there is in grey and blue on white, which we'll when I get to the new one, we'll see is a little different. Mixed by Bob Clearmountain at Air Studios in London, produced by Chris Thomas. The album is it's an astonishing epic of 1980s kind of pop rock, unbelievably good, and been a massive favourite of mine since the day of release. Frankly, the singles that came out off of this, absolutely stunning. It's got 12 tracks on it, and every one of them could have been a single. They're that damn good. Anyway, enough of that. Here we go. This is what we're here to talk about. So this is the latest Atlantic 75th anniversary release by Analogue Productions, mastered from I think the original tapes, or an original production master. Certainly this is all analog all the way, and I will no doubt mention him again, but mastered and cut by, every time I come across one of his releases, or one of his masterings or cuts, I suppose would be the more specific, correct term, Ryan K. Smith of Sterling Sound. He did the White Stripes Elephant UHQR, which I'll put a link to up here. Again, this has got kind of all the hallmarks of that. It's this is a good couple of decades before the White Stripes Elephant, but it's I still kind of think of it as modern pop rock, and like that, he has knocked this out the park. Now the original, there's no question when you go on and play the original, and I'll be perfectly honest with you, I played it through kind of track at a time for a few tracks, going to the Atlantic 75 after each track, and after doing that for a few tracks I just didn't bother anymore, because I mean I've heard this countless times, not only on this UK original vinyl, but I've heard it on CD, and it's just in the car, at hi-fi shows, at friends' houses, just on your Walkman, no matter what. Heard it in every situation you can kind of imagine hearing it. But you put this on, and it is utterly mind-blowing. I've written notes, track by track notes. I don't even know if it's necessary to go through them. I will mention a few things because it literally brought tears to your eyes. You can feel it in the pit of your stomach, the bass, the weight, the punch, the power, the kick, and the kind of the stunning kind of sense of timing, and the way that's was it Never Tear Us Apart? The kind of starts off with you've got the sort of string sound, and Hutchins's voice over the top, and then there's this pause, and then sort of the bass and drums come. It's just, honestly, you're captivated with every hair on your body, like hairs on your arms stood on end, tears in your eyes. Your heart's practically stopped for that moment, and then and it just sears on out, and the sax and oh my God, it is unbelievable. It is absolutely stunning. But to just run through the whole thing, Guns in the Sky, that's how the thing opens, and it's on the original. If there's a let me go back to the original and talk about that. It is a phenomenal record, but it is very, very, very 1980s. It's like the 90125, which again I'll put a link to up here, which I did recently. Phenomenal sound, but very, very, very of the 1980s. It's bright, it's incredibly hot, it's searingly hot. It's not, the sound of the bass and drums and things, it's not the world's most, it's not like some acoustic audiophile folk recording. This is gutsy and hot and burning and searing and powerful, right? And hugely, hugely, hugely exciting and exhilarating. But you put this one on. You put the Analogue Productions one on. Let me just put it back in its little bag here, so you can see the label. But in comparison, the Atlantic 75th anniversary Analogue Productions Ryan K. Smith version, it has got phenomenal weight. And where on the original it just might be bright, hot, searing, like I said, searingly exciting. On this, add to that, we'll take the bright away. I'd say it's still hot in terms of like there's a massive amount of energy, and it's very, very obviously 1980s, late 80s, and late 80s at its kind of best, if you like that kind of thing. I'm thinking of albums like Simple Minds, Once Upon a Time, ABC, Lexicon of Love, that kind of, 90125 for that matter. What I would, kind of cite as the best of the 80s from someone who grew up listening to 70s prog and rock and pop and the like. But there's an immense gutsy weight and power to this, which is just not on this. Simple as that. Hutchins' voice is on the Analogue Productions Atlantic 75. Hutchins' voice is far more in a natural ambient kind of space, but it's not sort of bright and harsh. It's soft and warm and airy and seductive. And when I say, I'll say that about quite a lot of this is there's a warmth and a lack of kind of bright sort of laser etched precision, but it's not in any way, shape or form implying that this is soft and fuzzy around the edges or smoothed over or glossed over. It absolutely isn't. I think this is it's supremely judged by Ryan Smith. Absolutely supremely judged. It's weighty. It's the bass is really deep, really weighty. Has a phenomenal kind of kick and power and drive. There's a huge kind of like diddly kind of. I always think of that as a Nile Rodgers-y, cheeky kind of rhythm guitar-y kind of thing going on in it. And on the original, there's no question they're bright and hot. And on this, they're hot, but they're not over bright. Definitely not. And at times there's more than one guitar going on doing this, and it gets quite complex. But you get more drawn into that because you can hear it all. It's less sort of like an overwhelming kind of slightly unpleasant assault on the senses, and more like just a completely captivating. It draws you in. It is utterly amazing. I kind of mentioned, I think that sort of the pause and the space and the sort of the tension and the expectation and the sort of anticipation and all that that is sort of really brought about by the blackness of the background, for starters, the absolute precision in timing, and a lot of that becomes from cleaning up sort of the slightly glossy, overly shiny kind of top end sort of cymbals and snare and things of this, and also adding weight to the bass that you get on you get on here. It's just it's phenomenal. The drum sound, the bass sound. On New Sensation, for instance, the bass has got far more weight and body, which really balances out that kind of the rhythm guitar hotness. The sax has got way more space. It is just it's just amazing. Devil Inside, for instance, is just it's warm, it's deep. The pace of it is just it's thunderingly propulsive. But then the vocal kind of comes on it, like I mentioned earlier, and it's just it's warm and natural and rounded, yet airy. There's absolutely no sensation of rolling off or fuzzing anything off. It just allows things to live and breathe in a very natural, warm and seductive way, and you take that, apply that sort of palette, if you like, to this. Phenomenal. It's not just the production, it is the performance, the writing, the everything, the concept, the whole thing. It is absolutely I think it's for me, it's probably the best thing to ever come out of Australia. It's by far my favourite INXS album. I think I've only got two now. I've had a few more, but I've got rid of. I think I've only really got X for one or two tracks that I really quite like. There are a few other Australian bands that I've been into over the years, but nothing touches this. Nothing comes. It's not even on the same planet. This is just phenomenal. It's pop rock. It's not. It's make no bones about it. It is what it is. But it is utterly stunning. The title track, Kick, Guns in the Sky, New Sensation, Calling All Nations. They're really kind of driven. huge swagger and boogie and sort of funky kind of chic-esque kind of rhythms. And then you've got Mediate, for instance, Never Tear Us Apart, Need You Tonight, Devil Inside. I mean, just, those are the ones for me that are just the standout tracks on this album. But there isn't a bad track on the album. You'll listen to it from beginning to end, and you get to the end, and you have to jump up twice, 3 times as many times on this because it's a double 45. Didn't bother me in the slightest. And you get to the end of Tiny Daggers on side 4, and first thing you do is put side 1 on again. It's infectious. It's utterly captivating. Cannot explain how absolutely wonderful it is. I was listening with my wife Jo beside me, and this is another thing that I noticed with the White Stripes, which was the same outfit in terms of it's a QRP pressed Analogue Productions 45 RPM cut by Ryan K. Smith from the Analogue tapes. It's just the very same thing. We just kept turning it up and up and up, and it gets to the point where every single hair on your body is on end. Your eyes are welling up with tears. You get a grin from ear to ear, and you're just in ecstasy. It's amazing, absolutely, utterly amazing. I mean, Mediate, it's just beautifully colourful. It's the sort of the synthy sort of like, it's just the ambient sound feel it gives you. It's massive, it's expansive, it's captivating. And then the more propulsive songs are just grab you by the scruff of the neck and hurl you down the runway like you're taking Concorde for a walk on a leash. It's mind-blowing, absolutely mind-blowing. And again, we were, as I say, I was listening to this with Jo, my wife, and we started off, and it's like Guns in the Skies, play the originals, play this, New Sensation, play the original, play this, Devil Inside. We got as far as Need You Tonight, and it is like, trying not to swear it, but it was like just, screw the original. There is absolutely no way I need to go back and listen to the original again, or a CD, or anything else. I've played this between us, we must have played this many hundreds of times in many different situations and hi-fi systems, in the cars, at parties, at clubs, whatever. Never heard it like this ever before, not even close. And it's not one of those, it sounds a bit different. I read some reviews, not specifically of this, but I think I have read one of this where it was sort of like, I'm not so certain. I think, I don't know what system those guys are listening on, because this isn't different to the original. It's better. It's better by a country mile in every single respect. There is not one aspect, nothing about the original, nothing about about it on CD. There is nothing about it on any format I've ever heard that comes close to this. It is absolutely knockout. It is absolutely stunning. And I've spent a couple of £100 or close to a couple of £100 a few times on some UHQRs. I've just ordered the 2 new Bill Evans UHQRs. That temptation for me is too hard to resist. But if I paid £200 for this, I'd be still hugging it to my heart like the most cherished, valuable, wonderful thing I'd ever bought. It is stunning, absolutely stunning. I've just got to say hats off to Ryan K. Smith, Sterling Sound, who mastered or remastered and cut this. And remember, this is I mean, you say remastered, it's he's cut it, and in so doing he's remastered it for vinyl. It's not a remix, it's the same Bob Clear Mountain mix. It's not like some blooming awful 2024 AI enhanced bloody reimagining, thinking we could do it better. This is someone who's, you know, I get the impression kind of just has got that humble willingness to learn and sensitivity that will take something like this and absolutely realise what it is in this that is so special, and then make a cut that realises all that, releases its potential. He's not changed it, he's not souped it up or juiced it up. It is just everything it ever should have been. And what is it? It's 87. It's 40 odd years on, nearly 37 years on. I think that's how old Michael Hutchence was when he passed away. It's a bit ironic or poignant or whatever you want to call it, but no. INXS Kick, Analogue Productions Atlantic 75th Anniversary Series, QRP pressed, Ryan K. Smith cut, worth every single penny, absolutely every single penny of the purchase price. This one is mind-blowingly good, you know, and it was one of the ones I was looking forward to most because, you know, it's a phenomenal album, but you know, we know the 80s kind of sound. It isn't perfect, but this is kind of released from that, and oh my God, how special is it? Okay, so on that note, I'll say thank you very much for watching, and please do click the like button. It helps massively, and if you haven't already, do subscribe. It doesn't cost a penny, but it helps me out a lot, and feel free to share this video, and I'll look forward to seeing you again soon. Thank you. Bye now. Bye.